Hello, this is Kim with Standing on Solid Ground. I am your host of the Spiritually Motivated and Inspirational Podcast. And today's King of God is King Elah. Elah was the fourth king of the northern kingdom of Israel. Now, according to 1 Kings 17 and 1, in the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Oshia, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria over 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, but not as the kings of Israel that was before him. Now, this is King Ahaz of Judah, which began, and he was the son of Elah. But Elah was the king for a short period of time. He was only king for 2 years due to his wickedness and evil ways, as followed by Jeroboam. And if we recall, and Jeroboam turned the children of Israel to follow after idol gods, overthrowing God's ordinances for worship. There embodied another great evil. Also, King Jeroboam was wicked. He had wicked pride, and he was the subordinate of worship of God to the interests of the state. He made the church a tool of the state. Now, if we think about it in today's time, do we see that happening today? Do we see people changing the people's hearts, the followers of God's hearts, away from God to follow them? It's the same difference. It's nothing new. History is repeating itself. New, what they call same play, but just new characters. It's the same production, but just new people that are in this play. And when we think about it, the younger ministers, what they call apostles, prophets, evangelists, teachers, preachers, they call themselves these things because they have a great abundance of people. And what they do, they feed them off false hopes in order for them to pay. Now, when you do a glorious thing, and when you are blessing people, the next thing that they're going to ask you for is money. After the whole thing, now I've been to churches here recently, they ask for offerings first before the preacher even preach. And I believe that they're doing that because these days, individuals will get up and walk out without paying their tithes and offerings. Now, if it's set in their heart to pay tithes and offerings, then they'll pay tithes and offerings. But if it's not set in their heart to pay, as soon as the pastor gets through preaching, they'll get up and walk out. But there are those that are making money off of this. Big money, and living really, really well off deception. And this is what God is tired of. And really, if you think about it, the King Elah spirit is here. It's here today. It hasn't gone anywhere. Now, the origin of Elah is a gender-natured name of the Hebrew origin. It derives from the Hebrew word Elah, meaning terebinth tree, and is also the word of God in Aramaic. So I did not know that, but his name does mean God. But if we think about it, there are many that I've heard. I want to be among the stars and speak to my Elah, or speak to Allah. And so that's who they're referring to, Allah, their God. Now, the meaning of the terebinth tree, literally, the name of the tree, Allah, is derived from the word El, God, Elah. The feminine form of the word means goddess. Now, what did King Elah or Allah do in the Bible? He sinned more than all the kings who had ruled before him. He lived the way Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, had lived. He committed the same sin Jeroboam had caused Israel to commit. Israel made the Lord very angry. If we think about the leaders of today, and especially those that have greater congregations of people, what are they doing? They're doing the same thing. They find out what works. And what works to get the people to rejoice to them, to pay their money, to look up to them as Allah, they will pick up that trademark that someone else has. And it's been going on for years. This is nothing new. People have been following after so many different individuals in regards to if you just if I send you a prayer cloth, if you send me $5 and I'll pray over that cloth and I'll send it back to you and you will touch this prayer cloth and you will do this. I've seen waters in little tubes. I've seen oil. I've seen all kinds of stuff. I was involved in it. I was the one receiving the holy oil. I was the one receiving prayer cloth. I was the one receiving waters, paying out my money. And my life never changed. My life was still the same. Only until I went after God is when I saw things changing in my life. The great Allah, the great God, Elohim, He is the only one that we need to be seeking. But unfortunately, mankind have placed themselves as being God. It started back in the Old Testament. This is nothing new. And they've picked up the Jeroboam spirit. They picked up the Allah spirit and a host of other spirits that take on this same trademark. It is nothing new. Nothing new. So when we are thinking about the kings of God, this would be what I would consider Mendacious character, king of God. This is he did evil in the sight of the Lord. He turned the hearts of the children of Israel. The whole point of putting mankind in leadership is to lead people to God. That was really the whole purpose. That's what Moses did and Aaron. That's what Elijah and Elisha did. That's what Isaiah and Jeremiah and Jonah was supposed to do as well. The whole purpose of leadership of the body of God is to take and lead people to Christ, to give people the word of God, to address the issues that when they come to you and say, I have this problem, you show them how to go to God for answers, not mankind. We don't have the answers. When Daniel and when I can't think of Joseph, they both were in front of men that had disturbing dreams. And they said the dreams are not to be told by man, but of God. They are of God. God is the one sometimes that sends these dreams, and an interpreter must be in effect. But what happens is people are stating, I had a dream. The Lord told me that if you go out here and you do X, Y, and Z, that He's going to bless you. People are following after this. That King Elah spirit. That King Jeroboam spirit. And there's a host of other ones. It's not just these two. It is more bad kings than good kings. Now, there are good kings that did bad things, like King David and King Solomon. They kind of went off track a little bit. Solomon more than David. At least with David, it was just one woman. With Solomon, he had 700 wives. So we can see that the mentality is still there. It's just different individuals. The King Elah spirit is living today, where they are turning more and more people's hearts away from God instead of taking them to God. God is the only problem solver. The person that's in the pulpit have to think of a new scheme, a new line, a new way of telling something in order to keep the money coming in. They have to come and give a new trademark to the old trademark. They have to create this theatrics that only I have the power to give you what you need and to address all of your problems and to address all of your needs. And if you give, see, that's the hook and the bait. The hook is playing on words. Where did they get that from? The serpent himself. Serpent started this whole mess. And so the slick tongue is relevant even in today's time. No matter what anybody tried to convince themselves, a lie is a lie is a lie is a lie. You cannot avoid a lie. But one day, that kingdom that people have built on them lies, God is going to tear them buildings down. And the truth is going to be exposed. See, the truth is lingering. The truth is around. It's out there. God is just waiting for that perfect moment to expose it. And when he knocks down the facade that people have urgently and yearning to believe in, when God just decides just to knock it down, and he can do it at any time. He can do it at any time. It is up to God when. The number 7 always keep clicking in my brain. The number 7. I don't know if that means 7 churches. I don't know if that means 7 ministers or 7 people, 7 organizations. I don't know what that 7 is inquiring of. But God, I believe that perfect number, God is going to take that perfect number and he's going to expose a lot of people, especially those kingdoms that have been built on false doctrine. And when he exposes it, the truth is going to be right there. Now, the problem is, if there is 100,000 people in an audience of one congregation or one church, out of that 100,000, probably only 15,000 will believe that they were a fraud. The other 85 is going to follow them. They're going to take up for them. They're going to fight for them. Now, they'll fight for the person, but they won't fight for God. That's a problem. And see, Elah or Allah, his term was short-lived. Why? Because God just went on and just destroyed him. He just said, oh, no. We're not doing this one. And it took another person who killed him and took his place. I think it's Zimri is how they pronounce it. He killed him. And when he got rid of him, he assumed he was his successor after his removal from the throne. God will get tired of this foolishness. He will. And one by one, church by church, pastor, preacher, apostle, prophet, whatever you want to call yourself, God is going to expose you. And when God exposes you, he's going to pull the whole church down. Now, how he pulls it down, I don't know. I don't know if he's just let it fall, or something is going to, but the truth is not going to be stomped on anymore. The truth is going to make its appearance. The truth is going to show his face. And when it does, look out. It's up to the people to make the choice of whether to continue to follow after this false teacher or follow the truth. God is going to give you all the chances, all the opportunities that he's going to give you. But one day, and I do not want to see this happen, but one day, there is going to be a moment that when that church go down, everybody that's in that church is going to go down with it. Because God has said, I'm tired. I've had it. Because you all are just refusing to listen to the truth. And if you're refusing to listen to the truth, you're refusing to listen to me. And when you're refusing to listen to me, you're refusing to listen to all the people that I have put out there to teach you the right way. And you're doing everything but what you're supposed to do. And one by one, church by church, God is going to dismantle and he's going to expose the truth. And when he exposes it, don't be mad. Don't be angry. Because you know what? It's not going to be the people that like me or like other teachers and preachers and evangelists that have podcasts and channels and different things like that. It's not going to be us that's going to do it. It's going to be God that's going to do it. Now, what we are supposed to do when it happens, it's not to say I told you so, but it's to say, who are you? When are you going to come to God? When are you going to listen to truth? See, what I believe God is going to do, God is going to send a great big thing of I don't know how he's going to do it, because I'm not going to say that he's going to use this or he's going to use, but God is going to use a way where people are going to have to fend for themselves. Are they going to go towards the leader that deceived them, or are they going to go to God? And when God allows these people to fall in this big lake of water, this big lake of water, and they're going to be paddling and fighting the water and trying to figure out how to get out. How am I going to get out of here? And God is going to say, here I am. Now, the leader, the one that led you to this deception, he might have, or she may have, a big boat that can pull up as many people as they can. But God said, I have land that I can put you on, someplace safe that I can keep you. I am your refuge. I am your fortress. I am your deliverer. I am in the high tower watching over you. And when he comes, how many of you are going to take his hand and say and follow him? That will be the time when the people of God that are teaching the word of God, sound doctrine, not this hocus pocus stuff, sound doctrine, they need to take out their fishing rods. You don't even have to bait it. You just throw it out there. The ones that want to be saved, and this is nothing but God, the ones that want to be saved and want to be redeemed, they'll grab on the hook without a bait. They'll grab on an empty hook because they don't want to stay in that water to drown. And when God start reeling, God is going to give us what they would consider a power rod. Well, we can probably have several people hanging on that one line to reel them in. And all the saints of God that are in God, that are teaching, that are preaching, that are evangelizing, that are missionaries, that are doing the will of God, we all need to be standing out there on shore, pulling them in. Not saying I told you so. Not saying, well, we try to warn you. Not saying that, you shouldn't have been following him. You shouldn't have been following her. We tried to tell you that. No, that's not the time. What that time is presenting is the time for us to say, come on, my brother. Come on, my sister. God is waiting for you. Come on. Let's get you out of the water. Let's reel you in. And let's take you to the Lord, because we know what we've been through, and we know what trials we have faced, and what convictions we had to overcome. And you can overcome this. Let us take you to the King. Tamla Mann's, I love that. Take me to the King. Let us take you to the King. And let us take you to his altar so you can be redeemed. For he is our deliverer. He is our refuge. And he is our redeemer. Let us help you. These are the ones. These are the kings that we need to be following. Those that will lead people to Christ. Lead them to the altar, and not leave them, but dwell with them, pray with them, teach them, help them, as God has given us the tools to do so. Remember, in Matthew, when Jesus was going out looking for the disciples, he said, I'm going to make you fishers of man's souls. When these churches go down, and I don't know when, I don't know how, I don't know what God has in mind, but when they go down and it start crumbling, because they built their kingdoms on sand, it's not going to stand forever. When the right amount of water comes up, and this is nothing but God, but when the right amount of water comes up on that shore, it's going to wash that church out. And the truth is going to be exposed. But it will be up to those that are in that congregation when they're floating in the water, seeking help, looking for someone to rescue them. Maybe the leader will get in they boat or they ship and come and help. Maybe they won't. Maybe they only going to rescue just a few, because they don't want their boat and stuff get all nasty and dirty. They don't want all them wet people on there. We have to pay attention. When the waters come ashore, and they coming, and they're going to come with a mighty force, and God is going to just expose everything about that church. It will be up to you at that point, that when you're in that water, who's going to come and rescue you? Is it going to be that leader who taught you and gave you false hope? Or will it be God? And you, at that point, will have to make a choice. Are you going to follow after God, or are you going to follow after Mammon? You're going to have to make that choice. Joshua makes it very clear. Choose you this day who you will serve. And then later on in that same verse, he said, for me and my household, we are going to serve the Lord. The King of God of today, which is actually a mendacious king, an evil king, is King Elah. This is Kim with Standing on Solid Ground. You have yourself a wonderful and blessed day.